Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we are going to add the code to make the music player work. All right. First thing I want to do is generate an event handler for each of these buttons. Basically, an event handler is used to respond to an event. An event basically is something, an action that is performed on an application when the application is running. For example, a click is an event. So the corresponding event handler would be a click event handler. So let's start with the browse button. So I'll double click on that and that will generate a stub of the code. A stub meaning it just generates an empty method or empty function. So we have to write the code in between these curly braces. You can see the cursor is flashing, waiting for us to start writing the code. What I am going to do here, I'm going to use an if statement just to check the dialog box to see if the file has been opened when you click on the browse button. So we'll type in if Visual Studio IntelliSense is giving us a guide. So in the if statement, we added an open file dialog box. So I'm going to pass that into the if statement. So it's a lowercase o. So this is the look. This will now become the open. This is the open file box we added earlier onto our form. So what we'll need to do here, we need to attach a method to it that will be used to display the open dialog. So if you press dot or period, it gives you a list of methods you can use. If you type in show, it will show you this show dialog box. So this show dialog is a method. Every method must be enclosed in parentheses. So it tells you this is a show dialog box. So what we need to do is complaining at the moment because I've not finished writing the code. So what I need to do, I need to wait for the if statement to check something. So to check or evaluate, you do double equals to, and I want it to check the dialog. There's this dialog result, and I want to attach a value to it. You can attach an OK. So if you're not sure what any part of the code does, just place your mouse over it and the IDE will illustrate or tell you, give you a tooltip guide as to what that code does. It tells you this is a method. It runs a common dialog box with a default owner. Okay, that tells you that it's an open file dialog for form 1. Form 1 is the form that this dialog is attached to, and the OK here, the dialog box returns value is OK. Okay, it tells you usually send from a button labeled OK. Okay, in this instance, the button is not called OK, but it gives you a guide what this method does. Notice I've got this red squiggly line here because it's complaining that I've not finished the code, telling me that this is an invalid expression. So it's telling me, it's expecting, because if the code is finished, I should put a semicolon there, but it's not finished because it's an if statement. When you are using an if statement, you have to specify the code that will run for that if statement. So to do that, I need to specify blank curly braces. I'll just expand that. In between the curly braces is where I will write the code that will be activated in response to this if statement. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to reference the text box. We added a text box earlier. We added a text box 1. So dot text. I'm going to attach a text property to it. All right, and I'm going to set that value to equals to the open dialog I'm going to set it to equals to that, and I'm going to attach a file name to that. All right. So if you put your mouse over that, it will tell you what that does. It gets or sets a string containing the file name selected in the file dialog box. If you put your mouse over that, it tells you what that does, okay? So if you're not sure, just put your mouse over there. It'll give you a tooltip guide. The next thing we want to do when you are using a music player, you need to specify a path where the files will be picked up from. So I'm going to reference our music player. Remember, we declared it, we called it, I changed the name to this. So if you put your mouse over that, it tells you that's the music player. So I'm going to reference this, and you need to specify a URL path. That is a path for where the music files is coming from. So I'm going to set that to equals to the text box. So that means it will get the location of the music and display it in the text box area. Okay, it's going to display it as a text. That's basically what that is saying. So that's the code done for this button. I just save that. I'll go back into our designer. I'll click on the play button. It will generate a blank. Again, generated a stub of the event handler. So in between these curly braces, I need to specify the code. Because this is a play, it's gonna be, I want when the button is clicked, it will just play the music. This is quite easy to do. So again, I reference the music player, which is this variable here. And I'll attach a control. Visual Studio comes with a control. So there's a control called this. Just double click on it. And then I'll attach a method to it, a play method. So these are various methods you can attach. So what I want for this is just the play method. So that's the play method. And just do a semicolon. And that's it. So this single line of code is responsible for playing the music. So I'll save that, go back into designer, do the same for the pause. This is the event handler for the pause. I'm going to save time, just copy, paste it here, and just change the method to pause. Oh, that's a lowercase. Okay, I'll go back to the control, save that, go back, double click on the stop button, generates a stub of the event handler. I'll paste, same thing, and just type in stop. Notice there's a stop method there. That's all I need to do for that. I'll come here and grab the exit. This is different. I don't need to call the player. All I need to do is attach a close. There's a method called close. So I want when the exit button is clicked, it will close the application. So our code is basically finished. So click save. And let's test the application. So to test, we start debugging. We click on start. Just wait for it to load. All right, it has loaded. So click on the browse. It should give us the dialog box. Excellent. So we need to go to music. You can click any music files, by the way. I'm just going to click on the default sample music that Microsoft provided with the operating system. I just try the first one. I'm not sure if you can hear that. So it's playing okay. That's the play. You can see the path. It's displaying the path. I can click on pause, play. I can click on stop and then exit. Excellent. So we have successfully created a music player. Thank you so much for your time. Take care and bye for now.